and Jace's range is sort of short. So when it comes to actually killing towers, it's a little bit dangerous for them. But they do have Alistar, who, like I said, if they're ahead, he provides extreme tankiness for 6 seconds. He could just initiate a tower dive, and maybe they could, just wipe out the blue team like that. But looking at blue team, they have Janna, Lux, and Maokai all extremely good at supporting carries. Lux herself is obviously a really strong carry. Could potentially wipe an entire team off the map if she lands like a really big combo in a small walkway. Namely the jungle. Fighting in and around race is always really bad against Lux, or fighting near the banana bushes, or what used to be banana bushes on the backside of blue buff. So yeah, this game could definitely go both ways. I like Purple Team's comp a lot in the sense that it's a very fun comp. I think it'll be fun to watch. But Blue Team probably has the safer comp. It's probably a lot better. But you can't really say that either of these teams really outscales each other. And looking at Blue Team in terms of Siege, Corki is the best AD carry for sieging. He has really good poke with his ultimate. Once he saves up a few of those missiles for the missile barrage. Doesn't have the best range for hitting towers, but his siege alone is so good at poking people off. And then if the purple team was to try to hard engage, blue team does have Janna, who is the best disengage in the game. Pops her ulti and just runs away with her team. Does provide movement speed bonus. Maokai, who is really good at counter engaging, as opposed to just disengaging. He sees them engage. He can just go in, root in on either Katarina or Master Yi, lock down whatever target he chooses. All while dealing a good amount of damage himself. Maokai is probably one of the best tanks in the game just because he can be so hard to kill and still do so much ridiculous damage. Has pretty good ratios on all of his spells. Benefits a lot from the Rod of Aegis Sunfire build. And then has percent damage on his W, which is a snare. So he's able to do a lot of damage to targets that he chooses to get onto. Darius, is just Darius. He does crazy things in fights. Sometimes it seems like he's doing nothing. Other times it seems like he can pretty much wipe out a team all on his own. If he's allowed to live long enough to get his stacks up on people, which makes him like a true tank. Because to me, a tank it's somebody who is really hard to kill, but gives you a reason you can't ignore them. So, say for example, if somebody went full tank on Caitlyn, they would be useless. You wouldn't even have to kill them. But a full tank Darius, he stacks up all these different all the bleeds on you, which do tons of damage. He has insane base damage on all of his spells. His W is basically like an old Lee Sin cripple, where it gives a movement speed and attack speed slow. That stacks up to a tremendous amount once he has 5 points in it. And then, of course, if he stays alive long enough in a fight to get 5 stacks on you for his ultimate, Moxie and Guillotine does tons and tons and tons of damage.
Yep, it does. I have experience on both sides of that matchup there.
Yeah, nothing feels much better than getting down a really good Darius on to close out team fights and get an ace.
Hey, look, it's a Dougmaster Darius!
And it is. Hey, Windrose, if you get the pentakill, you will get a prize. It might just be adoration from your fans. It might be RP. Who knows?
I mean, you already said it was going to be RP, so.
That was assuming he did maybe have the skin. Now that he has the skin for sure, who knows?
Alright, so. I'm a little disappointed we don't have the Fnatic synergy in the bot lane between Corki and Janna. They're playing the right champions. They're just not playing the Fnatic teams.
Yeah, at least it's it's champs that count. We can pretend they have it.
However, red team does have the 5-ski intimidation, but I think Darius kind of makes up for Corki and Janna. So it's kind of hard to tell.
Definitely.
If you look at Darius and Janna, it looks like Janna's trying to get some D on, and Darius is like, nope, I'm gonna dunk on you. Alright,
yeah,
and
there's all kinds of interesting things you can see on these load screens.
And so it begins. Pinging towards the bottom of the jungle. Oops.
I wasn't really even paying attention. I didn't even realize that it was Maokai jungle. I saw that there's Maokai, and I saw there's a Darius. And I saw that Maokai had Smite, but until I saw the machete, I didn't really pay attention to it, because it's not something you really get to see too much. Most people obviously take Maokai top. Maokai jungle actually does provide a lot of pressure, assuming he plays it right. His ganks are, they're no-skill ganks. He's able to come in, use a point-and-click snare. He has the knock-up slow on his Q. Potentially very potent if played correctly.
It looks like It looks like the Punch of Damage has practiced that warding a little better than Scarra has.
Yep, he was able to get it on his first try. Didn't embarrass himself on stream.
No, he didn't. I'm so proud of
And
you, Puns.
I would like to note that Weston Wright MD is my sexy bae. I needed to clarify that for people
Oh, okay.
because it was being questioned earlier.
Okay.
Looks like we'll have some pretty standard starts. Both junglers starting in the lower quadrants of their jungles. I guess it's technically lower halves of their jungles, if I'm saying it like that.
Blue team does have a 100 gold lead right now, and it is at 100. It is a minute and 30 into this game, so.
Yeah, that is an alarming rate.
We haven't even seen any creeps yet.
And Janna starting with Stealth Thief, which a lot of times people actually lately I've noticed sort of go between Coin and Stealth Thieves. So it's sort of preference. I think in terms of final upgraded item, I think Talisman of Ascension is the best. But Stealth Thieves is situationally good. It does give the slow whenever it's Frostwing's Flame. And does have the highest gold income of the support items, so we'll see.
Yes, we will.
Something to note on is that Frostwing's Claim is useless against Yi, assuming he has his Highlander up.
Yeah.
But now we're getting into the lanes, and we'll see how everything plays out. I think Red Team does have the early game advantage in the bot lane.
Yeah, looks like it, and they have just a lot more tankiness early on.
Yeah, definitely.
Ooh, and those headshot hits will hurt.
Yep, and Caitlyn Alistar is sort of a potent lane. You know, it's not necessarily the best for all ins until much later on, but the sustain and the poke together is just gross. Caitlyn able to, you know, pretty much win any trade bot lane as it is, but add that with an Alistar's Triumphant Roar, I believe it's called, is his heal, and he'll constantly keep the Caitlyn kept off at full HP, with the Targons added to that.
Yeah, so that's a lot of sustain they have. At least in this early juncture, and they hit the level 2, and both teams did hit level 2 about the same time, I think. Lux running herself kind of out of mana, which is not good when you're going up against Katarina. I mean, I think she's trying to push the wave to the turret, so that's a little harder for Katarina to farm. But maybe you could talk a little bit more on that.
Yeah, you know, pushing into Katarina is good. It is, you know, somewhat difficult for Katarina to farm, but you don't want to use all your mana, because at that point, that means Katarina can win any trade she wants. All she has to do is just consistently throw out her daggers, shoot in there, use her Sinister Steel, and go away with the increased movement speed. And all Lux will be able to do is return auto attacks at the point that she's in, of course. Right now, she's okay to, you know, make these trades, but you don't ever want to waste all of your mana on any champ just trying to shove in, unless you know you're going back or you have a Chalice in the blue buff, and then, of course, in that case, you're able to free cast.
Oh,
we do have
here we go.
Coming down.
Alistair doing a ton of damage onto Janna, and perhaps gonna pay for it in his carry's life. There is a nice little sapling, gonna slow down Alistair. Alistair still taken quite low. Red buff ticking. There's another twisted advance, and that's a double kill for Corki.
Yeah, had he flashed, you'd have been able to get the kill onto Maokai pulling him into the tower. But bot lane for Red Team held on to their summoners too long there and paid for it with a double kill. That's really not, you know, not what you want to have happen in a lane where you have Caitlyn, because it's better to get no kills with Caitlyn and keep the other bot lane starved than it is to trade, you know, 1-for-2 like that, or even a 1-for-1 trade. If you were to trade Caitlyn for Janna, or even Caitlyn for Corki, obviously trading Caitlyn for Janna would have been extremely worth it for Corki. But even if you're trading both AD carries in that lane, to have equal trades with a Caitlyn lane is bad, because Caitlyn has to keep her lead. And it's always more worth for you to trade even whenever you're somebody that outscales somebody else. Corki does become a stronger champion in mid game, but Caitlyn has the advantage in the super late game.
Oh, here comes Master Yi. He's gonna deal a little bit of damage, and there's a jump in. There's a nice light binding, and he's gonna attempt to tank that, but he's gonna fall.
Yep, he called himself that meditate. Had he walked away from the tower and let that tower shot that was already traveling come to him and then meditated after he was out of range, he would have lived. But he meditated under the tower and just let the shot stack up, and yeah, he died for it.
Yeah, that was kind of interesting. Jace poking down this tower is pretty hard. Oh, Katarina's gonna go for it again, and a light barrier once again. That's a delayed double there for Lux.
Yeah, at this point, Lux is going to be really, really strong. She should be sitting on about, yep, she's at 1,750 gold. She can go back get a Chalice and a Phoenix Codex at this point, or maybe boot to second Dorans and Chalice, whatever she feels like buying. And she's going to be incredibly strong. And with the MR from the Chalice, she'll be a lot more survivable against Katarina. On champions like, Lux or Diana, champions that
Oh,
have shields
and
built in.
there's Janna falling again.
Oh, Caitlyn.
Caitlyn, yes. I don't know why I said Janna.
Caitlyn died. Well, she died to Jen, I believe. So
Yes.
that was that. But anyway, champions that have shields, since shields give you health, building resistances makes those shields last that much harder. So you get a lot more work out of building MR than you do out of building more health on a champion that has a shield. So Lux picking up a Chalice goes so much farther with her prismatic barrier, which is her W, her shield. And basically she'll be able to survive like a full on Katarina combo without taking very much damage at all. Even Katarina's ulti. Like, unless Lux was the AFK sit in it, I don't think Katarina has a chance of killing her in this lane anymore.
Yeah, again, Jace is just powering over this Darius, which is weird. You usually see this go the other way around, where Darius kind of powers over Jace until he starts stacking a tier and getting him a mana. But not to be. He's pulling him in. That's a little
advantage of his early game, getting some poke in there. But
Yeah.
however, every other lane is losing very hard for him.
Darius wound up getting a kill anyway.
Yep, he he did get the kill. But like I said, the Jace does have a huge lead, and at this point, the 30 minion lead makes up for more than that kill. But he needed every advantage he had if he wanted to have any chance of carrying this. And at this moment, it's not looking like Red Team's gonna have much of a chance. They're falling left and right across the map.
Yep, and Katarina does pick up a consolation kill, I guess. And
it's actually gonna get out for it. That's impressive.
Yeah, it is. The singularity, not quite far enough traveling.
So Katarina has a Fiendish Codex. Looks like she's going to be rushing a DFG. Honestly, I don't like the Deathfire Grass rush on Katarina too much. I think it's better to have consistent damage output than to rely on the burst. And being against Maokai, Corki, and Lux, that's three, primarily magic damage carries. Corki doing, almost 50% magic damage or more, depending on how the game's playing out. Katarina would get a lot more benefit from actually rushing maybe going Sword Shoes into hunting guys and picking up an early Megatron and building it into an Abyssal after those first two items. Something I've been really fond of lately. I think it would pay dividends for her to go that way. But we'll see what she can do. Maybe the Deathfire Grass will give her the burst needed to get a kill, to get a reset, and to maybe win fights.
Oh my goodness, that CS difference in the top lane is kind of making me sad. Oh, yeah. That binding just barely missed.
And as far as CS differences go, especially in the top lane, it does feel really bad. It's almost like a drowning feeling. You feel so weak, so oppressed even, and you start getting massively behind like this. But as long as he has the patience and keeps in mind that the rest of the map is winning really hard for his team, Darius doesn't necessarily need to be ahead to be a monster. If he is ahead, he is a ridiculous to have to deal with as anybody.
Once that happens,
even when behind, he does have the true damage, ultimate, and sort of innate tankiness. Janna kind of randomly flashing in the middle of that engagement, really, really unnecessary, but it is
probably felt like Caitlyn was gonna dive with Alistar.
Maybe, but they weren't even near her at that point. She sort of flashed whenever the fight was over, and Alistar also ulted when the fight was over, so not real sure about those trades.
Jace's gonna grab that top
best he can. Actually, something to note on is it's 7-3. Blue team had 4 kills, but only had 100 gold, and that's not something that's a good sign. Whenever you have a kill lead, every kill is 450 gold, assuming somebody gets an assist. 300 kills plus 150 gold for the assists. Obviously, there's some variables in there,
like
Master E. assists. E ulting to the minions.
Not getting much out of it. I think.
Anyways.
I think what was happening is I saw Requiem was trying to come down, got spotted out by a ward, and kind of killed the gank attempt that they were trying. But they're gonna try and get this dragon in constellation.
Yeah, it looks like this is gonna be pretty free. But like I was saying, you get the 450 gold, pretty much, on every kill. With some variables like declining gold values based on death streaks and increasing gold values on assists based on whatever the assist thing is, the assist streaks and whatnot. But not only that, but the farm and stuff that you get should keep your team rather ahead by even more than the 450 gold. So for red team to be, putting up such a close fight in terms of gold is really not a good sign for blue team. If blue team doesn't start taking objectives soon.
That was, however, a beautiful double kill and play there by Lux and Maokai. That was really nice synergy between the both of them. Kind of fighting them 1v1 and 1v1 until Katarina finally fell, and then Maokai went over to kind of be a distraction for Lux.
And having mid jungle synergy is, I think, pretty much the most important thing. Other than bot lane, of course, is pretty important. But mid jungle is pretty close to the duo bot lane in terms of synergy. It gives you pretty much complete control of the map, and they showed early game they had, they were working well together, and it's carrying over to the mid game.
Lux might have stayed a little too soon though, and that shock blast just barely missing.
He's getting a little bit greedy here. Probably going to use his E to clear the minions and then use his ultimate to wipe up all the minions here. Hopefully going to take a recall.
Oh, Maokai's here. Oh, there's the ultimate, like you said. It's almost like you know this person.
Just the champ. Just Lux players in general. Most of them will do that with their early game ultimates. Very rarely do Luxes even use their ultimate aggressively. It's almost always used for wave clear on recalls or to force people out of lane, stuff like that.
I remember
Most Luxes will not pick up ultimate kills until later on in the game.
I remember we had a Lux in one of these Yoloqueues that constantly sniped out dragons and even sniped out a Baron, and she played, and then the next game she got a Lux van. Now I just laughed.
Yeah, Lux is one of the champs that can do that pretty easily, along with Ziggs, comboing spells. Ziggs with his Q and his ultimate. Lux can do it with her E and her ultimate. She can leave the E in there to provide vision, and the cooldown on it's so short that she can do it multiple times. And timing a Lux E with an ultimate does more damage than Smite, especially at late game, so it is something that can be pulled off.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to counterplay it as a jungler.
Oh, here comes Darius. Gonna get the slow off onto Yi, and getting the dunk actually. I don't know if it's gonna be enough. That is gonna make it enough. Flashing in and using his little circle thingy.
His Q, I believe it's called Decimate.
Yeah, his Decimate. He will take out the Master Yi.
Yep, and this is where I was talking about why I don't like E as a champion too much. He is fun to watch sometimes if he's doing well, but if you don't, then you become completely useless to your team until much later into the game. Maokai will be providing a lot more utility and tankiness and usefulness. His damage will pretty much be matching E as well. Yeah, they're really missing out by not having a tank jungle or top.
Yeah, particularly with how much engage Maokai brings along. And he's going to be building that Rod of Ages. He's going to be a lot more beefier.
Yep, and we use beefy. He's not necessarily tanky yet. His ultimate does give him the reduced damage, but he is all health right now. Once he does get a little bit more resistances, he will be officially tanky, and we'll be able to sit there and let everybody beat on him until they're dead.
I think we have a snipe attempt going on. Nope. BMX Specs tried to snipe the blue buff out, but Katarina was there waiting in the wings.
Yeah, always gotta be careful whenever you're trying to do stuff on champions like Lux, whenever you're moving over to try to snipe out buffs, because in doing so, if you walk over wards and the other team does see you, they may collapse on you and you might end up paying with your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
The buff is definitely not worth.
Alright, so here goes Maokai with his ultimate popped, and that's a laser that will help out with the Maelstrom when it popped up, and it took out the Yi once again. Stop me if you've heard this before.
Because Yi is consistently just sort of dying, going for ganks on Yi in the first place is not really a good idea, unless it's like 100% free kill. He needs to be farming his jungle. He only has 40 CS at 15 minutes. Most good Yi players at this point would have 70 or 80, even more. Just constantly going through the jungle, constantly clearing and going to lanes to, not tactical or anything, but anytime your solo laners go back, you go and you hold their lane for them, you push out a wave, and all that farm adds up. He is at 13 stacks on his, getting towards Feral Flare, doesn't even have it yet. It's pretty good marker to have your Feral Flare by 17 minutes, and to not even be halfway done at 16 is really unimpressive.
Yeah, and not to mention, we saw in the top lane, Darius just got killed by Jace. Jace finally ramping up and starting to get a little stronger. Um, you just saw kind of Darius kind of dribble away, knowing his life was pretty much forfeit. However, I kind of like to try and juke out the Shock Blast when they come out. Like, move just a little to the side, just so that they over-aim it. But, it is what it is.
Yeah, and another interesting thing about that matchup is it does sort of go back and forth, all throughout the game. But at any point in the game where Darius is behind his lane opponent, he still has the potential to 100-0 them with his combo.
Oh my goodness. So, with that play in the bot lane, you see Katarina jumped in and attempted to do her combo, and actually got away with it because Janna tornadoed just about a hair over where Katarina was, and it did not hit her. That's rough.
The panic. Whenever you panic and you try to do a real quick ability, sometimes it's better to take that extra half a second and hit it, because Janna paid for it with her life there. Tried to do it too quick, tried to look too cool, and it ended up whiffing.
Mm-hmm.
And the 2v1 on Darius collapsing in on him.
And
So
there they are.
on.
Darius gonna probably pay for that with his life. There's E coming in. He might actually get a kill. There we go. Nice job,
he
E.
has successfully reset his gold value. Add a little bit of gold pile. Darius was 2-2, now he's 2-3. So, we were thinking maybe I was thinking, maybe he is doing okay in this matchup now. But I didn't realize the farm difference. Jace has more than double Darius' farm right now. Jace, as a champion, does have the capabilities to pretty much solo carry games with his damage output. So we'll see, how that plays out, what ends up happening.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned wave clear earlier, but I think Caitlyn has pretty okay wave clear. And
she does.
Especially when that happens and there's a kill.
Yeah, she has okay wave clear. She's not the best. She's not on the level of Ziggs or some mages. But yeah, she does have okay wave clear. I guess I discredited Blue Team a little bit. Jace also has good wave clear, but he can only hit like 2 or 3 minions at a time. But yeah, I think Red Team should be okay as long as they don't get massively behind. Although Caitlyn definitely got a little bit over aggressive, but it doesn't matter because Alistar comes in to save her life and she heals the minions or something. Don't know about that heal, but better safe than sorry.
Yeah, that was the Imp and Mata moment where Imp gets a little too ham, and Mata's right there just to save his life just a bit.
And of course, Imp did step down today, or not Imp rather. I'm sorry, Mata stepped down today. Kind of sad to hear.
Yeah, that
leaving right after winning Worlds, but
I don't know.
We wish him the best of luck.
Yep. Gonna try and get that slow from the Arcane Smash, and we'll pick up the kill. Meanwhile, they're gonna just try and chunk down Alistar as much as they can, but Master Yi is gonna be there to try and make something happen. He has a giant spot actually. I don't know what he's gonna be able to do that.
Some Yis like to go Randuin's.
The old Vayne route.
Not really sure that I would recommend picking up now, because he could have been close to his Blade of the Ruined King, but, everybody has their preferences. Some people's are wrong, some people's are right. I'm going to go with it being wrong to get a Randuin's this early, especially against a team that has so much magic damage.
Yeah.
Nobody on the enemy team is really punished by this build.
Oh my goodness, and we were talking about synergies earlier. That was a really nice, I almost want to say synergistic, but I don't think that's a word. Moment there between Darius and...
I think it would be synergetic.
Synergetic, that's the one. Between Darius and Lux, both of them very low. They looked both very tasty for that Jace, but Lux has just so much outplay potential with that binding.
Yep, she provides CC and ridiculous burst, all in one little kit, all in a split second, and he just got the best of it.
Okay.
That seems to be the reaction to most of the plays that happen with this guy. He just sort of goes in and, okay, that's it.
I'm sorry, that's mean, but I guess he was waiting for Alistar to show up, and it just didn't happen.
Yep, we'll leave it. We'll say he got hung out to dry, I guess. Although I don't think that's the case. I think he's getting a little bit overzealous all of the time.
And now Corki has blue buff, so infinite missiles.
Yep. Corki with blue buff is probably the best AD carry to have blue buff on.
I mean, Ezreal.
But Corki's so much better than Ezreal.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but
Ezreal is another good one to have it on, though. But Corki is pretty terrifying with the siege, with the extreme range on his rockets.
And we do see a lot of tankiness coming down with Maokai now. Probably going to build towards that Merc Treads. Has the Spirit of the Ancient Golem and a Rod of Ages. Going to be pretty darn hard to kill coming soon. But like you said, it's mostly health, but that tenacity is going to help out so much in future engagements.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, even just the health, like I said, Maokai, has the percent reduced damage on his ulti already, which is basically the same thing as having resistances. So he provides himself with tankiness. So stacking health is really effective on him, and it's just more so once he does get the added armor and MR from his future items. Not sure I agree with the Merc Treads. I mean, it is good, for getting rid of, little things, little stuns and slows. But Red Team doesn't have too many of those, added up. Alistar, both of his forms of CC are, basically airborne. So Merc Treads has no effect on that. He would have been better off doing Ninja Tabby or even maybe Boots of Swiftness or Mobility to get catches. I would do him with Ninja Tabby. He's against triple AD. And they're all three, well, Caitlyn and he very auto attack focused. Jace somewhat, but not as much. Obviously with
his W and range
shock
form.
blast. His shock blast giving a good chunk of damage, but he does auto attack a lot. So.
Oh man, that was a nice grab. The apprehend going into the dunk, but Corki's gonna be like, nope, you missed the dunk. I'm gonna get the assist here.
Yep, and Caitlyn broke her back on the wall there. Tried to net over, didn't quite make it, and died for it.
Yeah. I'm gonna call that play when Darius gets the dunk, misses, and then someone else gets it to put back.
Okay, that's what it'll be.
So Corki gets the put back in that one. Meanwhile, Jace is trying to split push, and Darius is gonna go try and meet him head on. This has happened 3 or 4 times in laning, and it hasn't been so terribly effective. But he does have a turret this time, so we'll see how it works. He listened to me, he juked it, but it's not enough.
Yeah, this is the point where I was talking about where Jace can actually carry this game himself. He shouldn't have backed off here. He should have stayed the pressure. Blue team is collapsing on him. Maybe it was the right choice. Who knows? They might even be just
actually
going to this Baron.
picking, yeah, they're picking Baron. They could probably get it pretty handily. Unless Jace has something to say with it.
Yeah, Jace has realized what they're doing. Realized they're not just closing in on him, and is going to try to do his best here to stop them.
It's working somehow.
They are realizing it is not the best choice, that there is the potential of a steal. But Jace is looking pretty...
Jace is trying to fight it. He's getting kind of ham there. Almost got a kill on Corki, but not quite enough damage.
Had he been more decisive and hurt a little bit earlier, I think he may have been able to get a kill out of that. However, he did get a heal in a 2-on-1 situation, which is, that added with him solving Baron is probably the best case scenario.
Red team's gonna push this turret down as a result of that heroic sacrifice from Jace, and they might actually be able to go pressure Dragon. However, stuff like that will stop that in its tracks. Nice apprehend there.
At this point, the game is becoming extremely chaotic.
Nice chaotic. There's the dunk I was looking for earlier. He's gonna have resets on that in just a moment. He might actually try and go get it. I think he heard you earlier. He's gonna get it. Oh, Lux picks up the kill on Alistar.
The ends of the earth on this one.
There it is.
Over the wall.
That's the alley-oop there. And I think Red Team could have actually gotten Dragon off of that if they didn't try to engage in mid lane.
Yep, and that's where shot calling and decisiveness all comes into play. They were, sort of running around like chickens with their head cut off. That entire time, blue team, Darius fell top lane, and they sent 4 people over towards Baron and then towards Chase. The team could have just gone down to Dragon during that time frame and easily secured it. Now blue team starting in on the Baron again. Sort of a risky call. They're not actually ahead by too much gold, only 8,000. But if they get this Baron, it'll pretty much all but secure their win.
Yeah, Cork is becoming a really good distraction too. However, he might have. Nope. I was gonna say he might have bit off a little more than he could chew, but he's still holding that Jace at bay. And they're gonna get this largely for free. I think now they have vision on it, and there is a 4-man knockup, but Master Yi was a little too late.
Yeah, he started taking his time to get over there. He should have ulted and flashed over the wall, but Katarina managed to pick out Corky in the mid lane.
That was oh, is he maxing his meditate? Is that a thing?
He is not maxing it. It does heal you more the lower you are. It is not a thing, thank God. And Katarina
That's
getting
the double kill.
The Lux outplay, but I don't think she's getting out of this one, boys.
Oh, nope, almost. There's Darius once again, gonna try and get those stacks on, trying to get another dunk.
Yep, and he does have his ultimate back up, but he is low on mana, and likely will not be doing anything here. It'd be best for red team, or for blue team to just back out, spend their well-earned gold, and push down one of the lanes.
For
The thing about Lux that she adds to teams in terms of siege is that if she lands one binding on a carry, that carry is pretty much dead. Combined with her E and her ultimate, she just wipes you off the map.
Yeah, Maokai had 3,100 gold before going back, and he's going to spend that right now. Getting some Merc Treads. Going to get some more Magic Resist. Probably going towards a Spirit Visage. Not a bad item choice, I don't think.
Oh, definitely not. It does, work with his passive. His passive gives him heals based on spells cast around him on both teams. So in the middle of team fights, he gets really frequent procs and is able to heal up a really good amount. And that is, I believe, percentage based, which goes with him stacking health. Right. So yeah, Maokai becomes extremely tanky off of the guy getting the health, getting the Spirit Visage, and is similar to some, like lifesteal tanks, like people say in like Tryndamere. Tryndamere is a good lifesteal tank, which is, because he's not actually tanky, but he sustains himself to fight. So Maokai does a very similar thing.
Oh, there's a nice attempt at a catch there, but it was not enough. Everybody there has a little bit of disengage, just enough to take out Katarina.
Yep, and Maokai is tanky enough, and Lux has enough AP that Caitlyn ulti didn't even break through a Lux shield on Maokai.
Yeah, that was a little silly.
It's kind of saddening to watch, actually.
Kind of is. I'm going to raise this next one for you, Katarina. And they take out the inhibitor at 28 minutes. This game is still pretty close for the kill difference.
Yeah, the gold difference is definitely like not as big as you would think for being like for blue team manhandling the map in the way that they have and decisively winning. Sorry, excuse me. For blue team winning so decisively all these fights and all these battles over objectives, they don't have that much of a gold lead.
We haven't really seen them, as we see a laser there, and here's the actual team fight we might actually see. There's a dunk going down, Darius getting one. Does he see two? Will there be another one? I see him using his Decimate. Good guy, good gal, Janna. There it is, but Corky gets the putback.
Yep, Corky's stealing the kill before Darius even got a chance to finish his dunk. And it does look like blue team is going to be closing it out here.
That's going to be an ace. No, it's not. Caitlyn is still up.
Maybe she respawned just in time to save her team from being aced, but will she die in her fountain? She will.
She will, and that's game.
Yeah, well, congratulations to blue team. Played everything out well, worked the map just how they needed to. Congratulations on the Windrose, just holding out up there in the top lane. I think everybody knows what it feels like to be up there and to be starved to farm, to be zoned by your lane opponent. It seems really annoying, but then the rest of the map is winning, and he held out, and he finished with a pretty good score, 6-4-2, after being starved so bad early.
Yeah, that was pretty. He ended it fairly well, despite all things considered. There's a few things we can look at here. That Lux probably could have gotten away with building the AP stacking item that I forget off the top of my head.
The Magi is my favorite item in the game.
Oh god. You're one of them.